Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the PHDJ Podcast. My name is Mike.
And my name is Joe.
And I just screwed up. I said good morning. We said we weren't going to do that because people listen at all. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, what other time of the day, good midday, anytime. Anytime you're tuning in, we appreciate it. We always enjoy you listening and, of course, commenting and sharing. Right, Joe?
Hell yes.
How are you, man?
I'm good, man.
How are things down in Raleigh?
Raleigh's good. A little
Are you
chilly.
getting this blast of cold weather? What's chilly by your definition?
Right.
I'm interested.
It's like 30 degrees this morning. It'll warm up to a nice.
People in Chicago would kill for 30 degrees. Dude. Do you see what they're getting? It's incredible.
But listen to this, even worse. So I was on this call last night with about 40 Canadian DJs.
Yeah.
Minus, and again, it was Celsius, so I was trying to do the conversions on my computer, but it was minus 60 where some of them lived. So it was still, whatever that is, it's still like minus 40.
I mean, can't you just like instantly die when you walk out in weather like that? Isn't that crazy?
Dude, you remember that thing a few years ago where people walk outside with a bucket of water?
And throw a bucket of boiling hot water, and it would snap in the air. It's crazy.
It sounded like a shotgun blast when they threw it out of the bucket.
Right. Insane. Yeah. So we got another sign up this week. I want to welcome Eric Rhodes to the workshop. So he'll be joining us in Las Vegas, which is pretty cool.
Yes, sir.
And I have a sales related topic I'd like to start with, but if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to answer one specific question that I've been getting about the MC Institute I'm doing.
Okay.
The MC workshop. Is that cool? Do you mind if I use these airwaves for that?
I mean, I'm going to plug the DJ's vault later.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and this is something that I'm doing in conjunction with Mobile Beat.
Cool.
So basically, if you're attending Mobile Beat in Las Vegas, the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday morning, I should have those dates in front of me. I don't know what they are, but anyway, I opened the show with a seminar on Monday, which I can't wait to deliver. I'm really excited about that. But then starting all three of those mornings at 8 o'clock.
13th, 14th, 12th.
Okay, great.
13th,
Thank you.
14th.
So that's March 12th, 13th, and 14th. So at 8 a.m., I'm doing a 90-minute MC workshop. Then we've got a 15-minute break. I start again at 9:45, and that takes me to, 11:15, and then another 15-minute break, and then I do a third one each day, 11:30 to 1.
Wait a
so it's going to be a really busy morning for me.
You're doing 3 hours each morning?
I'm doing 4.5 hours each morning. I'm doing 3 90-minute. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Yeah. So each 90-minute time slot, we can get 10 to 12 people, 12 max. I think 10 would be more comfortable, but 12 max on the microphone. And you've seen me do this in conjunction with the PHDJ workshop.
Yep.
Matter of fact, this is the one thing we've had to eliminate going to Las Vegas, which is one of the reasons why it's a little bit less expensive, but it's not full 2 days. So basically, what I'd love to see with those dozen people in each time slot is get on the microphone, maybe do bridal party introductions. If you're a mitzvah DJ, do bar mitzvah introductions. If you'd rather do something a little less elaborate, introduce a song, do one of your prompts that you do, whatever you want to contribute and whatever you want to show me. Do it, and then I'll have an opportunity to kind of give you some feedback, criticism. I'll point out the positives. I'll maybe offer some suggestions on how to do it differently, that type of thing. So this is what's going to happen 3 times each morning in 90-minute time slots. Now, there's no signups for this, so it's a first come, first serve. So if my instinct tells me that 8 a.m. one each morning, if you definitely want to be guaranteed a spot on the microphone, I think that's the one to attend, because I don't even know if anybody's going to get up at 8 a.m. I can almost picture myself standing there by myself and having a cup of coffee at 8 a.m., but who knows? I could be wrong.
You're wrong.
But then those next two, okay, great. That'd be awesome with that. And then those next two, I think will fill up pretty naturally, and maybe we might even have to turn people away. So if you want to be guaranteed, I'd maybe try to get there 10 minutes early to get in the room, because if you show up right at start time, you might be eliminated from the dozen.
Guys, honestly, like having seen Mike do this, in person, the times that we did the PHDJ workshop here in North Carolina, it's definitely one of the things that scored the highest when we sent out the after conference review. It's one of the things that I was so impressed with, and it really showed me how Mike trains his own guys, and everybody knows how successful and big Elite is and how good the MCs are. I think in this 90 minutes, I mean, even myself, I learned several things, and not only from Mike, but the other attendees that were in the room. So, Mike, wouldn't you suggest that they maybe bring a wedding they did a couple of weeks before, like the schedule? Or were you
no doubt, either a past one or an upcoming one. You know, I know it's a slower time of year, but if you have a wedding that maybe you've met with already, and you have all their information, but you haven't done it yet, I think that's ideal. Bring those bridal party introductions, perform them as you will at their wedding, and then again allow me to offer some feedback. I also want to circle back and talk about that dozen number. You are welcome to be in the room even if you're not performing. So if 15 people show up for an hour for a 90-minute slot, those last 3 probably won't get on the microphone, but you're still welcome to witness everything and watch people perform and listen to my feedback. So it's not like we're going to slam the door shut after a dozen. Just understand that you're more than likely not going to get on the microphone if you're the 13th person or beyond.
And again, guys, this isn't, season 1 American Idol Simon Cowell kind of bashing. I mean, Mike does a very good job of being constructive and not, it's already hard enough to perform in front of other DJs or your peers. Mike does a really good job of saying, look, here's what's good, here's what's not good, and I couldn't recommend this more.
Thank you.
I'm thinking, Mike, though, just real quick. I mean, could you not set up like a Calendly link or an Eventbrite and just get the list?
I offered to do that for Ryan. Mobile Beat, they just prefer it to be first come, first serve. So it is what it is. And P.S. To go back to your point about me being kind of kinder and gentler, I've done this for a number of groups and also for companies. And P.S. this is included in your Mobile Beat badge. There are companies. My asking price for this is $1,000 plus travel. And there are plenty of companies, Joe included, who have hired me to come out and work with their crew. So you're getting I think some pretty great value that Mobile Beat is offering you included in your badge here. But I've done this for groups that Randy Bartlett has also done this for, and people have told me I am way kinder and gentler, which is ironic because I'm the New Yorker and he's the California guy, and you would think it would be reversed. But anyway, he can be an asshole, yes. But also though, I also think it comes down to the fact Randy doesn't necessarily train DJs for a living, and I do. So I understand the big picture. You can kind of crush a guy with things or gal with things that you say, and I've never wanted to do that. I always think long term. Look, I want to improve this person, but I also want to keep them on staff and have them eventually working for me. I don't need them wigging out because I said something kind of cruel or whatever else. So anyway, let's move on. First of all, I got a note from, I don't know if you got this too, from a guy, a new listener. His name is Matty Chillin McMillan. Did he send you the same note, Joe? Because I know sometimes people do.
I think so. Yeah, I recognize that name somehow.
That's pretty much the coolest name I've ever seen, right? He's DJ Chillin McMillan. I'm like, God, I have the most boring name in the world.
I think I've got you beat. I have 7 letters.
Yeah, Joe Bunn is kind of boring too. Anyway, you guys gained a diehard fan for your work in like 2 weeks. Been binge listening to the podcast. So welcome, Matty, to the podcast. McMillan. He says, may I suggest a podcast topic? Avoid double booking. So I'm just going to read this whole paragraph. And then I'm going to get this. Yeah. So how to deal with multiple inquiries for the same date. I am not a multi-op yet, he writes. Last night, I had a phone meeting with a potential client for a September wedding, and I sent out a contract and invoice for the deposit. She said she was on a tight budget. Of course, as you know, it's never a sure thing. And I allowed 2 weeks for when the deposit is due until the contract is null. No sooner did I email the contract, 2 other inquiries came in for the same date that would yield a higher rate due to location needs and upgrades. Not sure how you would handle it, but here is what I did. I emailed the client I spoke to on the phone and said along the lines of, hi, so-and-so, you are not going to believe this, but I just received 2 inquiries for the same date. Since you were first, I will hold off responding to the 2 so you have a chance to look everything over. I can touch base with you tomorrow. Then I did respond to the other inquiries and let them know, keeping it short, it's a popular date. We've received 2 other inquiries summarizing the point. I then attached my price sheet with the packages and mentioned it's well worth a phone call. So would you have handled things differently, and how? Go ahead.
No, I think he did it the right way. I mean, I just want to make sure I got this straight. He is still going to honor the 2 weeks.
I can't tell because he said, I will touch base with you tomorrow.
Right.
So I don't know if he's now going to rush that client along.
Yeah.
So my initial instinct is the mistake was by saying 2 weeks in the beginning.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I don't even know if this is a busy day, and he doesn't say. I mean, September can be a busy time of year, but Correct. It might have been a Sunday, it might have been an off day. But if this is a busy day in September, man, I wouldn't even offer any kind of hold.
Right.
I would say, here's my information, here's the pricing. Let me know if you're interested.
I think, Mike, the only reason that I'm saying that, I know the 2 week thing is our standard policy. I'm getting ready to pull up my contract while we're talking, but I'm pretty sure ours actually has that verbiage in it.
Okay.
That you have 2 weeks to return this from the date of,
So this whole situation made me think of a question for you, Joe.
Yeah.
I know your standard sales policy or procedure here is, let's say you get an inquiry and you're booked, but your guy Randy is open.
Yep.
You then give that inquiry to Randy to follow up, set up an appointment, probably a phone call, maybe a face-to-face to meet with them.
Correct.
Now, we all know that could take days or maybe even a week to happen.
Mm-hmm.
In that time period, is Randy on hold for this specific client?
He is. Okay. He is 100% on hold.
And you've explained that to the client.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure.
I've reassured the client. So say the client again. The summary is they send in an inquiry. I send them the pricing. The last question says, can I have a DJ contact you for a consultation? So at that point, they've seen the pricing. Yes, Joe, pricing looks good.
So let's say it takes them 2 days to get back to you and say yes. At that point, nobody's on hold, right? Have you put anybody on hold?
No.
It sounds like you haven't.
No.
Okay.
Not until they respond back, and then that's when I start looking at, who the senior
So
most
a day
DJ
or two later, when they get back and say, hey, these prices look good,
Yep.
we'd like to meet with a specific DJ.
Yep.
Now you're going to take Randy or whoever,
Yep.
put them on hold, and then put them in touch with each other.
Right.
And do you have a timeline for that hold?
I do. I have, basically every couple of weeks is they're coded pink royal blue if they're an active lead. And an active lead means a DJ is formally attached to this, even if they haven't met with them. And so every couple of weeks I'll go through and I'll just I have an automated email that I'll ping the DJ. Hey, have you met, following up, have you met with this person? Kill it or keep it or something like that. It's just literally, and they'll usually say, keep it, meeting with her tomorrow night. Keep it, she's been out of town, or kill it, she's refusing to all of a sudden return phone calls or emails. So, that's a manual follow-up with the DJ. But I would say that whole timeline of a hold wouldn't be more than 2 weeks tops, Mike.
All right. Now, and I agree with that. We don't do this as often as Joe does. In other words, we try to internally sell without, having. But I just had one recently. They were interested in Tom Monaco. Mm-hmm. So as soon as they express, it's because I had sent them videos of a few DJs. Mm-hmm. Tom was the one that really jumped out to them. They said, we'd love to book him, but we want to talk to him first. So at that point, I was specific with the client. I said, look, I'll put Tom on hold. Mm-hmm. That hold is going to last for 1 week. In the meantime, I'll have Tom give you a call. So exactly a week later, I followed up with Tom. He said, you know what, we're actually speaking later today.
Yeah.
So they had their conversation finally and literally got an email from her saying we want to book them. But at that point, I sent the contract and I gave her 3 days because she'd already held Tom for a week. So I'm not going to do another week. Let's face it, most of our clients nowadays give a credit card for a deposit. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, we used to do a 10-day hold because by the time we mailed you a contract and you looked it over and then stuck a check in the mail and mailed it back, 7 to 10 days was reasonable. But nowadays, I email you a contract through DJ Event Planner.
Yep.
You open it up, you read it, you're fine with it. You want to call with a credit card, that shouldn't take more than 48 to 72 hours. So I gave her on Monday morning, I gave her 3 days, which would have been today I saw that she booked yesterday.
Yeah.
She called in yesterday with the credit card. So I think the first lesson that Maddie should learn from this, and I'm sure he probably did, I would think, is 2 weeks is way too long. Mm-hmm. There's no reason nowadays why anyone needs 2 weeks to consider things, look things over. And especially if it's an busy day and a client that you think is going to take your smaller package. He mentions tight budget. So if you've got somebody who's probably going to reserve you for one of your smaller packages on one of your busy days, then be smart. Just, say, look, here's the pricing. Let me know if you're interested, but don't give her any promise of hold, because then if you do say 2 weeks, you are kind of wrong to then call her and say, hey, I need an answer by tomorrow. Yeah. Because she could turn around and say, wait a minute, you told me 2 weeks.
Right.
So that part isn't clear in his email, but it sounds to me like he might have gone back on his quote unquote word, or maybe even if it's written in the contract.
Yeah. You know what? I mean, Mike, as you're sitting here saying this, I mean, that's definitely something, it's one of those things where you do things you do things the same way for so long, you don't often kind of review your own processes and documents. Right. I mean, I'm definitely going to pull up our contract, and if that's in one of those first few paragraphs, I mean, I think you're exactly right. With the world of digital, I can shorten that timeline now to a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we have DJ Event Planner set we set the due date. When we send a contract out, we're the ones that set, we manually set it. Correct. So, if somebody says to us, hey, look, I really want to book Tom, but I can't have the deposit for 2 weeks. There's no way. Yeah. If I really want their business, then I'll give them that 2 week exception, in which case we'll just set it that way in DJ Event Planner. Same. But I mean, like I said, when I emailed this client a contract, I set that manually due date for 3 days from now. And I think that that's being realistic, especially like in your case, if somebody has been holding a DJ for a week or two to begin with, then look, now you've made your decision. You really don't need more than 3 days,
right?
Because you take credit cards, right, Joe? So they're probably more than likely going to get your contract, look it over, call you with a credit card number. That shouldn't take more than 72 hours.
Correct. And looking at it from a DJ standpoint or from an employee standpoint, it's a little bit unfair. You know what I mean? Like at this point, like you said, it could have been you're at 3 weeks, damn near a month, and that guy may have missed 2 or 3 other hot leads.
That, in your case, went to other guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And this is one of the things I want to circle back to what Matty wrote in the beginning. Yeah. He said, I'm not a multi-op, and he wrote in parentheses yet.
Right.
Well, Matty, I want to say this to you. If this type of situation happens to you more than once or twice a year, then you are well on your way to you need another guy. Thank you. Because it tells me you've built a lot of popularity in your market. You're getting multiple leads on the same date. That's the natural time for you to now add that second guy. Because if you had another DJ, this situation would not be as urgent, because you could say, well, look, I'm on hold for this client, but let me sell my DJ Randy to one of these other leads while this client sits on this for 2 weeks. Joe doesn't mind putting Randy on hold for a client because he knows he's got other multiple people that he can offer to the next lead that comes in on that day, right?
Yep.
So, Matty, I think you need to answer the question yourself. Does this happen often enough during a year where it's and the beautiful thing for you is if it does, you can bring in another DJ now and you're not taking on any additional marketing expenses because you've already got the leads coming in. These are the leads that you're turning down. So you're at that natural spot to start looking at bringing another guy in.
Great point.
Make sense?
Yeah, I think that's a great point, man.
Cool.
All of that. And even I got myself a little note here to double check that policy.
I think you should double check your how long you're putting people on hold. And to me, the most important thing is communicate that with the client up front. Look, I'm going to put Randy on hold for you. Let's be reasonable here. Let's say a week is a week, and get them to agree with it. Is a week long enough? And then if they say to you, well, we're going to be traveling in the next week, maybe you extend it to 2, but I see no reason to go that long on a regular basis. And in this way, if you've had that upfront conversation with them and they email you back 5 days later and say, we chatted with Randy, he is perfect, we definitely want him, you can say, great, look, I'm gonna send you a contract, I'm gonna ask for the deposit in 2 days because that'll be our week that we agreed to, right? And again, I don't see any reason why people would have a challenge with that.
Mike, do you have did you have another something you want to add in this last 5 minutes? If not, I've got
I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about the vault because I love your Facebook page, by the way.
Thanks, man.
There's already been some cool conversations and things started Matt. So why don't you finish up?
Yeah. So thanks, man. And I'll save that topic that I was just about to put out there into a potpourri of subjects that I've got.
It's your topic next week, Joe.
Exactly.
So might as well.
I'm holding this one.
Yeah.
So the DJ's Vault, working feverishly on creating content, Mike. So the basic premise is it's going to be a membership-based site where users can log in and they have access to everything that's pretty much ever been in my brain from the three key areas of.
We're talking business wise though, right? Not like every
no,
dark
not that
thought
thing.
you've ever
Right?
had.
No, not those things. But every DJ related thing that's come through my head in the last 33 years is going out into paper or article forms and video forms. And there are literally 150 articles I've written and updated. There are 50 videos that I've shot, and even stuff that used to be old up on YouTube. It's been pulled down and reshot and re-recorded and updated. I've spent literally hours upon hours writing, and I'll be in the studio again 12 hours tomorrow still shooting. To push for this mid-February launch. The closed Facebook group that people are in now, which is www.thedjsvaultgroup.com, will kind of go dormant, and it'll be kind of a members-only group eventually. I've got discounts from the biggest names in the industry, so you'll have a direct plug to my Guitar Center Pro rep, which will beat pretty much any price you've ever seen. EV is partnered with us. Roland is partnered with us. BPM Supreme for your music is partnered with us. Pro Gobo for your gobos. Floyd Rose headphones, which are these. It just, I've really just reached out to every favor that I can for not only discounts, but going into my brain and reaching back as far as I can to really cover the main things. And everybody that filled out the survey and Mike's survey, thank you guys. I know surveys are a pain sometimes, but the 3 touch points, Mike, were, as you can imagine, sales, marketing, and personnel, the things that you and I talk about feverishly.
Right.
So those are the main things, but there's going to be other, I'm going to go through my gear and show you exactly what I have in all my different bags, and how to do a wireless speaker, and what I have in my ceremony rig, and why it's, damn near bulletproof. So it's really the things about the DJ business that you can't learn on YouTube. And I was most, drawn to that idea, especially when I was in California last week. I met a DJ from Spain. It's a scratch, one of the world's best scratch DJs. And in my broken Spanish and his broken English, we had a conversation. And I said, he still lives in Spain, in Seville, I think. And I said, how did you learn? And I already knew the answer. I said, how did you learn to scratch like that? And what was his answer? YouTube.
Right.
But you can't get on YouTube and say, how do I grow my DJ business? Or how do I market my DJ company? You can look at Mike's products and my products and other industry veterans that have put out things. But this is kind of an all-inclusive, it's all here. You still, like I said, I've got several little videos that are going on the homepage right now. And at the end of every one, I'm like, listen, this isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. This isn't some scam. But if you read these articles and watch these videos and apply this stuff, you can take your business to the next level, period.
Cool.
I sound like a digital marketer now.
No, it sounds great. I think, and like I said, I'm early on the Facebook page. I'm enjoying the content. I'm enjoying the banter and some of the posts. Yeah. So if people want to get on that, they can just hop on and request
right now.
You do a little due diligence to make sure they're not assholes. And are you monitoring this page to make sure it doesn't become a?
2 of us are. Yep.
Okay.
2 of us are. It's not going to be a troll thing. There's not going to be any. I mean, there's just zero tolerance policy of being an asshole or badgering people, because we'll have people like myself and Mike on there, and then you're going to have some kid that just got his first setup for Christmas, and so you know, when people ask these questions that you think are 101 or even 01, answer the question.
And remember, you were there once too.
People need help, man.
And you didn't have the resources to ask these questions. So
you didn't have these resources at all. They don't exist. So I'm putting it all out there. So stay tuned for mid-February launch. And of course, I'll be at Mobile Beat, shaking hands and kissing babies and trying to get people to sign up there as well. And
going back to Mobile Beat, if you have any questions about the MC Institute that I didn't answer in the top of this podcast, please let me know. I think we were pretty thorough with it, so I don't want to be redundant. But if there's anything you're unsure of, reach out to me.
Guys, I can't, you know.
You going to participate in one, Joe?
Hell yeah. I definitely will come.
You going to show up with some bridal party introductions? 100%. Let me rip you a new asshole.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna go Randy Bartlett on your ass.
Hey, just like Mike said, because I was standing in the back of the room when we did it a couple of times, and Mike intentionally looked across the entire crowd.
What are you doing,
and
Joe?
Goes, what are you doing back there? And I was like, I'm just watching. And he goes, never ask people to do something that you're not willing to do yourself. And that was one of my favorite Mike Walter quotes. So
there you go. All right. Put a bow on it, Joe.
All right, kids. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Still got room for you at the PHDJ workshop. If you are coming to Vegas, just extend your trip for another less than 72 hours, and we will teach you all that we can in that time frame. PHDJworkshop.com. Thank you guys so much.
All right. Have a great week.
Later, Mike.
Ciao.